And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to something special. Welcome back to the next edition, next season of the HomeStory Cup HSCXXVI. I'm, of course, HSCXXVI VIP. With you, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, and by everyone over in Krefeld. Oh my god, it's amazing, it's beautiful. We are once again back with some live offline events. It has been far too long. The first live event since EWC, or I mean, technically we did have the events on Bulgaria as well. True. I should say the first live event on the new patch and the new map pool. And here we go. We're jumping into our first series. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the Swedish Zerg player, the yellow Zerg, representing Team Roddy. It is Fjant. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing his new team, Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. And if you are in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you believe will take the series. Best of luck, as it's gonna be a long day. For those that are curious, this is of course a 3-day event. 3 days of StarCraft, 3 days of HomeStory Cup. Day 1 is going to be Group A and Group D. Sorry, Group A and Group B. Day 2 is going to be Group C and Group D. So 2 groups a day here for the first 2 days. And of course, we have the playoffs on the final day. Oh boy, so 3 days of StarCraft. Here on the CranKy Ducklings, we are going to be the English B stream here for the group stage, of HomeStory Cup. When it comes to the playoffs, they will not need us, so we're only going to be here for the group stage. Then we will join the rest of you in the audience, in the Twitch chat, watching the final day of HomeStory Cup. Let's go. So 3 days straight of StarCraft. Look forward to it. As a reminder, as well as was being said and pointed out in the chat, we are live with the new patch, and there are some bugs. There are some bugs on the ladder, some bugs in the game. They have, some of them at least, or most of them have been fixed in the new mod. There is a mod that we are going to be using for the tournament. Most likely is going to be used for all events moving forward until it's fixed in the base game. But there is a mod that has fixed and has adjusted the Cyclone, as there were some unintended changes made to the Cyclone that were kind of left in the live version of the game. Likewise, the Oracle as well, and some other bug fixes are mixed in. So as a heads up, I believe it is linked in the chat. The TL thread has been linked in the chat, and you can have a look yourself at what the mod does entail. Here we go. But for the most part, the Cyclone has been adjusted, and the Revelation cast range has been reduced from 12 to 9. So has been reduced when it comes to its cast range. And from here, we can settle in. We can send them to our first series. Again, we can go over the group stage or the group itself after this series as well, as there is going to be some downtime as our players do get ready. So there's a lot to go over, a lot of players, a lot of matches. We're here in Group A. We have 6 players in total, and it is round robin. Oh boy, it's gonna be like a 10 to 12 hour cast. So strap yourselves in. I was actually having a look, for those that are curious, we were actually, as we're going for a Twilight Council, there's something more aggressive here out of NightMare. But last edition of HomeStory Cup, we were also the B stream, and I was checking day 1, I think our cast was 11 hours, and day 2 it was 10 hours. So, you know, between 10 and up to 12 hours at most, we're gonna be here with the group stage. So, let's go. I'm ready to strap myself in, Fabia. Oh no. It's gonna be a long one, Pat. It's gonna be long. We'll go all night long and morning long as well. Let's go. As again, it is going to be a more aggressive start here by NightMare, going for a Twilight Council into Glaives. Is going to be pulling out. No, actually staying in gas. Interesting. There is a Robo Fold. This should be 4-gate Glaive Adepts. The fact that NightMare, there we go. I was going to say, if he doesn't pull out of gas, this could be Glaives plus Dark Templar, but he does finally pull out of gas. 2 and 2, 4 workers mining in total. That is enough to facilitate for 4 gateways. So 4-gate Glaive Adepts here from NightMare. Fjant has yet to piece it all together. Back at home, does go for a safety Roach Horn. Lings, they all try to flood in, but lastly block. Well, the Lings are blocked. They are denied. NightMare holds. NightMare holds. He does defend. Again, Fjant is where there's something is a little bit wrong. Something is amiss. For all he knows, oh, never mind. He's scattered. He's scattered with the Overlord. He is fully aware of the Twilight Council. It still could be Glaive Adepts for all that Fjant knows. So momentarily, we should be seeing Spores. And there it is. Spore, was almost thrown down here as Lings, they do get eyes on the move out. So Fjant cutting some corners, delaying for a little bit. There we go. Spore now on the way. So again, for all Fjant knows, there could be Dark Templar alongside this. It is not uncommon to go Glaives plus DTs or just straight up DTs. So Fjant is trying to get ready for whatever is to come. Meanwhile, Adepts, they have arrived. They are moving out across the map. NightMare, he's transitioning already here, actually, before his Adept Warp in. So minimal Adepts allows him to actually tech up quite quickly here into a bay into Disruptors. I imagine Disruptors, but it could be Colossus. Regardless of the Bay is on the way. NightMare shading in towards that natural. Does a threaten his shade, but doesn't quite commit. Just poking wherever he can. Rotating over towards the third. Does a rotate over. More Adepts on the way. So far, denying any kind of mining here at the third base. So far, Fjant hasn't lost anything yet. He's still on a low drone count, but hasn't taken any major losses. As NightMare keeps rotating, Lings, they get across the map. They do kill the Stalker. Not bad. The Stalker does go down, but alas, they are denied entry here into the natural. The Bay is now done, and we should soon be seeing that Disrupt production. There it is. First Disruptors on the way. You know, Lings, they collapse on the Adepts. The Adepts, they trade well against the Lings at least, but the Roach count's getting higher. They do commit to the shade. They get the hell out of there. They pull back. Lings across the map. They're going for the Cybercore. Despite the warp in, is the Cybercore going to go down? Ooh, it survives. Whew. Cybercore does survive, does live. So far, so good. Fjant is holding. Meanwhile, Lings, they do get across the map. They're at least trying to force back the army. Little does Fjant know that NightMare, he's been working on that next step for quite some time, and the first Disruptor has arrived. Now, as a heads up here, when it comes to the new patch, the Disruptor is a little bit less effective in this matchup. Oh my god! Cybercore is up! Not gonna go down. 13 HP. Oh my god, so very close. Does barely survive. Very clutch movement with that Purification Nova as well. Meanwhile, Adepts, they get across the map. They're trading with the Lings. Files do not quite connect, and NightMare, I should say, he does survive. Does get away with most of his Adepts, and now it's time to reinforce. Now, when it comes to the Nova, as I was just saying, it is less effective than it used to be. Previously, in the previous patch, it would one-shot Roaches. Roaches and Ravagers would be one-shot by the Purification Nova. Now that is no longer the case. Still does a lot of damage, but now it just softens up the Roaches. It takes 2 Novas to kill a Roach instead of the 1 previously. So bear that in mind. As more Adepts they have warped in. Fjant's going to be committing. I mean, that's a lot of Adepts. A lot of Adepts pushing forward. Disruptors moving in as well, zoning the army away. Fjant attempts to saturate the third base, but last is going to be denied. Third base on the fire. Nova goes up. Up! Ooh, the dodge though. A bigger connection on the right-hand side. Adepts, they clean up those weakened Roaches. It's one of those things where, sure, Roaches, they survive a Nova, but they die nonetheless to the Adepts. So far, good connection here by NightMare. He shades into the natural. Drones are going down, and the Roaches are out of position. 4 drones falling. And they keep on shading in towards them. Hey, the Novas! The workers! They get caught transferring. Not like this. 26 drones going down. Oh my god, that is critical damage. That's more workers than are currently alive here for Fjant. So it was less about the Adepts, more about, I guess the disruption here of the defense. Fjant's getting caught out. Adepts, they shade on out as well. Novas, they're coming back in. Disruptors, are still alive. The Prism taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage. But the Novas are reset. Once again, nice splits here by Fjant. Very nice splits, but regardless, second Nova doesn't quite go off. And Fjant is all in. At this point, Fjant is completely all in. He's got 23 drones behind this. 23 workers, barely an economy. And it's all or nothing for Fjant. Back at home, what does NightMare have? Immortal production. I do like this. Immortals are amassing. Shield batteries just now starting. Shield batteries are late. They are delayed. So Fjant can still pull this off, but those Disruptors, they're ready for another shot. The Novas are getting ready. Third base a little bit ambitious there from NightMare. So he's not mining from the third. It's under fire as we speak. Behind this, Fjant is droning. Ooh, that's a bold move. That's a bold move here for Fjant. He's droning up. Warpins at the third base. While they graze the army. No big connections, though. Yeah, he's going to try to take the fight here at the third. The army moves out. Nova's going up. Zoning back the army. Looks like the expansion is going to go down. And the Nexus falls. That is good damage, but again, we're looking for more. Fjant, he wants his Immortals. Up. Immortals almost get surrounded. Barely to escape. One Disruptor goes down. Nice pickup. Second Disruptor almost falls as well. Again, these are nice pickups here, but Fjant still needs more. Oh. Immortal gets low. Nova does graze the army. That's a lot of Roaches going down. Cybercore falls. That means only Zealots can reinforce. Charge is not done. Ooh, but the punish. The Queens are getting caught out. And NightMare is more than happy to engage here. Lings are trickling in. Up! Last, the control is solid from NightMare. He does save his Stalkers, chasing down the Queens. Every Queen is going to fall. And back at home, what does Fjant have to work with? He's still on 31 drones, still down in economy, down in workers. Lings, they rotate across the map. They're headed towards the would-be third. NightMare is aware. And NightMare knows. And the all-in is here. 3 Immortals with the main army. The slow looks like they're coming in. Let's go. Files connect. And so, but you don't need charge. You don't need speed. The Zealots, they're getting on top of the roaches anyway. They're collapsing on top of the army. And there's almost nothing left here for Fjant. Oh, Lings, they're coming from behind. They do catch out 2 of the Immortals. Not bad. But GG and NightMare will take game number 1. GG. NightMare will take a lead here again. Was a bit of a more delayed all-in from NightMare. Oh. As we are getting into our next game here. Let's go. I say delayed all-in. I mean, yeah, it did take a little bit longer to really get going. To take longer to really get going, just because of the faster transition into the bay, right? Into the bay, into disruptors. Oh, and here we go. Here we go. As we are getting into our next setup. We're getting into game number 2 here. It's going to be on Amygdala. Sorry, I was just a little bit distracted just because I had to make the lobby. Had to make the lobby, had to get things going. But yeah, I mean, again, it was a bit of a more delayed all-in with the disruptors, and it was brutal seeing those Novas pop off in the mineral line. What was it? If you remember, 26 drones went down to the Purification Novas, to the harass of, I guess it wasn't just the Novas, but also the Adepts as well. Before that, up until that point, Fjant, he was defending quite well for himself, but was pulled apart in the end and was caught out. And with that, we're now getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Amygdala. We have the Swedish Zerg player, the yellow Zerg, representing Team Roddy. It is Fjant. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. Here we go. But yeah, it was just really rough. Fjant having those transferring workers caught out the way that they were, right? It's like the Novas popping off, the Adepts getting in. Like it was I would say the game-winning move for NightMare, because if you remember, after that, Fjant was all in, right? Fjant, he went down to 23 workers. He had no economy. He had to commit with the all-in, and in the end, NightMare, he was more than ready for it with the Immortals, with defensive disruptors. Even with NightMare losing the third base, it didn't really matter, right? It didn't really matter at that point. Like, the damage had been done. But now we're settling into game 2. Going to be settling in, and we'll see if NightMare once again goes for an aggressive build. As a reminder, it was a Twilight Council opener into Glaive Adepts from NightMare in game 1, and now we're loading into Amygdala. Amygdala, which is one of the smaller maps in the map pool, does feature something a little bit more unique that I don't think we've seen before. This was not live during the PTR, but in the live edition of the game, if you haven't seen, we have these massive creep tumors. These massive creep tumors here that are bleeding out over time. You can't actually see them right now, but ever since the start of the game, they have been slowly reducing, or their HP has been slowly reducing. It's been going down over time as there is no creep, and eventually by the 757 mark, just before 8 minutes, they die by themselves. They expire. Of course, you can speed that up. With your own army, with your own units, you can speed it up, you can attack and kill them yourselves, otherwise it will just naturally, die off. They do act like creep tumors or like Zerg buildings in the sense that, fun fact, we did find this out a couple of days ago during casting, is that if you spread creep, and if the creep does get to these giants, like, infested buildings, it will actually stop them from expiring. Like, they will maintain their HP. So technically you can spread creep here. I don't really see that being, like, necessarily like effective. Like I don't know if that really matters. It's like a nice little tidbit of information. You can technically spread creep here to keep it alive, but I don't think it's really gonna be too impactful overall. And there it is. You can see here the HP almost at the halfway mark on this debris. I don't know what to call them, because in game they're called debris, but clearly it's something different. It's like, yeah, it's like a giant tumor, like creep tumor sort of thing, kind of, with massive tentacles. So yeah, it's kind of a nice little feature here of the map that I don't think we've actually had, you know, buildings that slowly die over time in SE2 too often, or even before this. So I do love to see it. As our players are settling in, this time it is going to be a Stargate opener by NightMare, Stargate into Oracle, something more standard, something more macro-oriented. Of course, another big feature is the goal base. We have goal bases here in the center of the map for both players, and of course, once you knock down these rocks, or once these other buildings expire themselves, you can gain access to the other side of that mineral wall and harass. So if you gain map control, it can be quite difficult for either player to really mine from that goal base. Lings, they poke in, they threaten the Adepts. Nothing too major, the Oracle was revealed, and Fjant knows. Fjant is fully aware of a more macro start. Lings, they hit the third. So far, so good, though. NightMare's keeping up. Keeps his third base safe. Just now moving out across the map with those Adepts now that he has access to these Oracles. Ooh, and that is a very fast Twilight Council. You have my attention here. So basically, the Twilight Council started around the same time the third base got thrown down, like a couple of seconds later. Because of the fast Twilight Council, this screams Glaive Adepts, or potentially the beginning of an 8-gate Blink all-in. Now, the reason why I say all-in, the reason why I'm leaning towards aggression here, is because the Forge was delayed, but it looks like it was merely delayed, which means this should be Blink, as the Forge is still on the way. Meanwhile, Oracles hit the third base, 5 drones already, not bad. 5 workers go down, and the Oracles, they get the hell out of there. Now, once we see the Forge kind of coming into the mix, this does rule out Glaive Adepts. Glaive Adepts are they don't really benefit from +1 upgrades, so this should head towards either Blink or Charge. And you can see here that this build seems a little bit off for NightMare, because, I mean, this Twilight Council has been done for quite some time, only now Blink is starting. So a little bit of an inefficient setup there from NightMare. Regardless, is getting into his upgrades. Lings, they do hit the third, but the shield battery is done. Adepts are in position. Ooh, and hello, Fjant. He has been joining up to 3-base saturation. He's still not quite there. Cutting work is at 53, and that is Overlord speed. Overlord speed is on the way. What does this mean? Most likely, it's an all-in. It's going to be a German taxi, Roach Queen all in. I mean, hey, he's in Krefeld, he's in Germany. It makes sense, Pappy, it makes sense. How did Fjant get to take TV to HomeStory Cup? Via taxi. As the Overlords are getting ready, the taxis are going to be gearing up here. Once we do have the lair finished, we gain access to Dropperlords, and there they are. Dropperlords are on the way. Ooh, but the Oracles, they did catch a glimpse of that for a moment there. Did NightMare notice? Back at home is setting up more gateways. Only one shield battery here at the third. There we go. He does get the revelation, and I believe he does spot the Dropperlords. He knows. NightMare now knows what's going on. There we go. Immediately shield batteries. We need extra shield batteries as quickly as possible at the third base, at the natural as well. There we go. They're throwing them down at the natural, as Fjant is going all in. And we'll see if NightMare can hold. See if he can defend. More Lings, Roaches, Queens are all gearing up. Again, Fjant cut workers at 53. That is, again, just under 3 best saturation. That's 3 gases saturated alongside all these mineral patches. And here we go. Fjant is pushing. So far, so good. Does bait out some of the stasis traps, so there are so many stasis traps. This is the benefit here of the NG overcharge. Massive stasis goes off. Oh my god, the Queens are exposed. No, the Queens get caught out as well. Overlord is going down, and this is a brutal defense here. NightMare, he will completely shut this down. Ay. More Lings coming in from behind. More stasis traps going up. And again, this is the benefit of the NG overcharge. There were just that many more stasis traps because of the Oracles. Because of the overcharge. Lings just trying to kill Absin. The Queens, they do break out of the stasis. Shield batteries, they're still putting in a lot of work. The Lings are dishing out quite a bit of damage here. And can Fjant still pull this off? Does pick up a couple of those Stalkers. Ooh, 2 Stalkers go down, but only 2. Yeah, in the end, NightMare, he shuts this down. He defends, he holds. I'm afraid to look at the use loss tab. 4 Stalkers. 4 Stalkers went down for 5 Queens, a Ravager, 64 Lings, the Dropper Lords. And with that, now Fjant is in trouble. Yeah, he's going to bleed another Queen. Another Queen falls. And NightMare can just chase Fjant down. At the same time, he's going for a Desperation Link counterattack to try to drag the army back home. Fleet Beacon's on the way. That makes sense. I mean, NightMare from this point forward, he can just rush into Sky Toss. There's not really much to stop him. Oh, as I say that, the wall's on the wall. Hero. As things, they flood into the main. And NightMare just slightly out of position with that sentry. Lings, they will distract, they will drag the army back home, and this will buy time. Now, more importantly, I don't know if you noticed something crucial here. Fjant is taking an expansion, But Fjant has not been droning. He has not been droning. He has not been taking extra gases here. He's still only on 3. Fjant is making purely roaches. Roaches, lynx, and queens. So it looks like Fjant, after the failed all-in, is getting ready for a second all-in. Now this makes sense, because after the failed all-in, you can't macro. Like you can't macro out of this. You're too far behind. Like trying to settle into a long macro game from this point and try to get into the mid to late game. I mean, it's just going to be an uphill battle here for Fjant. So the hope here for Fjant is that NightMare expands and maybe is a little bit too greedy, over probes, makes too many workers, takes up too hard, and then they get caught out by the second all-in. That's the hope. Is the hope for Fjant. Is that NightMare gets caught out. Meanwhile, he rotates over again. The rocks or the center debris has fallen. NightMare moves out. That means he's not at home to defend. With the Stalkers at least. There are Zealots, so the Slowlots. Slowlots collapse in, but there are the Banelings. Yeah, the slow bangs into the Slowlots. Meanwhile, across the map, Hatchery goes down into the recall. Stalkers get away. Nice pick off there by NightMare. This means that much less larva for the all-in. So killing the Hatchery is actually impactful. With that, NightMare now knows how committed Fjant is, of course. He's getting into his gold. Throwing down more shield batteries, working on +3. Mothership has arrived. The Mothership is here, and again, it's a brand new Mothership, now with extra DPS, with extra lasers. It's big again. It's big, it's huge, it's massive. And we'll see if Fjant can break this. As he does rush forward, collapsing on top of the Stalkers. Stalkers, they do blink away. One Stalker going down, Bathing Speed does kick in, he's going for the mineral line. But NightMare, he pulls away in time, he does escape up for the most part. Yeah, the probes, they get away, only 3 workers go down. Very nice defense here by NightMare. And again, the longer this goes on, the worse it is for Fjant. Oh, as the probes are going to fall here in this defense. They get brought into the Ling Bane. 16 workers going down. Stalkers under fire as well. Well, we're running out of Ling Bane. Now the roaches are exposed. I feel like the Mothership can help. Yeah, we go. I'm like, what's the Mothership doing? There we go. Activates Cloak. Slows on the army. The Queen's already slow. And GG gets called. NightMare will survive and will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Oh. As I update the lovely admins. But GG, well played. NightMare will take the series 2-0. We'll advance on. Oh, I said we'll advance on. We'll start things off here in the group stage with a nice positive score. With a nice scoreline here, and Fjant, again, game 1 had potential as well. Game 1 had a lot more potential outside of the dead workers, of course, which forced the all-in. So it was a rough kind of scenario there for Fjant. And here in game 2, Fjant committed to the all-in, but alas, NightMare scouted. Right, he saw it coming ahead of time. He saw the drop lords with the revelation, and as a result, he was able to react and respond with shield batteries, with stasis traps, more importantly. GG, GG, well played. GG, well played, and with that, NightMare will take it. We'll take it in the end, and now we are getting ready here for our next series. Up next on the channel, I mean, you know what? We have some time. you know what? We have some time, Pop. We have some time. Let's switch our scenes over and head on over to the bracket to figure out where we are and where we are headed.